The worst period in the Winnipeg Jets season cost them dearly as they were handed a 6-2 demoralizing loss by the Colorado Avalanche, and that worst period was an ugly one. 5 unanswered goals, including 2 on the power play, as the Avalanche matched their output with the man advantage from Game 1. And all of a sudden, the Jets are finding themselves in a really disturbing trend. In Game 2, they lost by 3 after giving up 4 goals in the second period. In Game 3 on Friday night, they lost by 4 after giving up 5 goals in the third period. This is a trend that absolutely needs to be reversed right now, because at this point, even though it's only a 2-1 deficit for the Jets, Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Central, still in Colorado, it's going to feel like a must-win game for 2 reasons. First and foremost, history is not on the Jets' side. In 2.0 history, they have never rebounded to win a series when they have been trailing by a 2-1 count. Secondly, the Avalanche have completely woken up. And it isn't just their stars. Yes, Nate MacKinnon got his second goal of the series on Friday night, but when you take a look at how balanced their scoring has been, it's been absolutely dominating. The second line alone has 7 goals in this series. Terry Lehkonen picking up his third. An absolute playoff performer. It's just an indicator of just how deep this Colorado Avalanche lineup is. And so, again, the Jets really need to find a way to try to stem the momentum that the Avalanche built, not just in Game 2, but especially in the third period of Game 3. Those are all the negatives, of course. So what do the Jets take away on the plus side of Game 3? Well, Tyler Toffoli's goal 5 minutes into the second period was the first marker from his line, including Sean Monahan and Nikolai Ehlers. So there is that positive, as that second line had been looking for some sort of offensive traction. Having said that, however, that goal, it looked like it might have been one of those soft ones that might have put Alexander Georgiev in a little bit of a shaky position like he was in Game 1. Especially where Toffoli scored that goal basically on the backhand from the goal line. Georgiev unable to seal the post on the short side. However, 7 minutes later, Georgiev stopped Toffoli on a breakaway, and that might very well have been the turning point of the game, because if Toffoli had gotten his second goal of the game right there, it would have been a 3-1 lead for the Jets. Instead, they go into the second intermission up by a narrow 2-1 count, and then you all saw what happened in the third period. So, yes, second line did get on the board. Ideally for the Jets, that opens up the door to more offense moving forward through the course of the series. Also, through 2 periods, Connor Hellebuyck had stopped 27 of 28 shots, and he was looking solid. He was looking locked in, dialed in, like the Connor Hellebuyck who was the front runner for the Vezina Trophy. However, once they got to the third period, he was left to the wolves, allowing goals on screens, on odd man rushes, on deflections. And so really, that third period was just a perfect storm of the Avalanche finding their groove and the Jets collapsing on a defensive front. And so, yes, Hellebuyck did have a good first 2 periods, but he alone isn't going to be able to stem the tide when it comes to the Avalanche's offensive acumen. And so the Jets are really going to have to find a way to improve. And some of those improvements Rick Bowness talked about after the game were very familiar refrains, talking about their puck management needing to be better, especially in the offensive zone, because they're feeding the Avalanche's transition. If they're one and done, or if they're not in good places to support each other when there are rebounds, or if there are loose pucks. And they're still passing up too many shot opportunities in Bowness's eyes. That is something that the head coach has been harping on since the beginning of the series as well. And so we'll look for those corrections, those improvements from the Jets in Game 4. There is some concern, however, for one of their second pairing defensemen, Brendan Dillon, who suffered a very nasty cut on his left hand right at the end of the game. There was a multiplayer scrum and scuffle. Dillon somehow got cut, probably by a skate while locked up with Brandon Duhaime. Bowness didn't have an update on Dillon following the game. We'd anticipate that we'll know more about the defenseman's status on Saturday afternoon when the Jets either practice or hold an availability for the media.